Hello and welcome to episode 26 of the Nerds at Large Gaming Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Darby Hallman.
I'm Jeff Mayo.
And we are joined once again by special guest, Jacob Hamill.
Hi, guys.
And he's going to use that voice the entire show.
Oh, yeah, totally.
If not, he's kicked that up. Nope,
No.
he's already has
Dang,
to go.
I'll see you guys. Bye.
Well,
Podcast
bring back
over.
Will.
Yeah, Will. Jacob, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
How was school?
It's both easier than it has been, yet I feel no desire to do any work whatsoever.
I'm having my worst motivation problems I've had my entire time in college.
I got back from studying abroad, and those classes were pretty hard comparatively. And
In England.
in England,
just
right?
now.
And then here, it's like they're pretty easy. I only have like two somewhat challenging classes,
Right.
but still, like I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do any work. I guess it's senioritis.
I think I'm getting the senioritis. I didn't think that was it for a while, but I'm just getting to the point where it used to be like, oh, I have this paper, let me just nail it. Just get it out tonight and get it over with. Now I just sit there and stare at the screen for a while, end up going on Twitter or something. Or last night I just ended up watching 2 episodes of House of Cards when I should have been writing an essay. It's getting hard.
Well, this is my 6th year, so I'm tired of all this.
We're senioritis. Jeff is just
Beyond.
resentment, just ready to
Super senioritis.
Well, Jacob, have you been able to play any games though since we talked to you last?
Just a little bit. I've been playing Life is Strange, which isn't a new game to me. It's new to my girlfriend who I've been playing it with.
Okay, yeah.
And we finished episode 3, which ends on a pretty big cliffhanger. So
Yeah.
I can't remember which one
right,
we already said, but yeah.
But yeah, it's a good game. It's a great adventure kind of novel-esque game. Very Walking Dead. I think it's better than those games in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I like that it's. We've talked about Life is Strange on this podcast before, but I like that it's kind of a perspective that you don't often get in video games and stuff from this like high school teenager type of thing, and just the angst and uncomfortable stuff that comes out of that.
Yeah, my favorite part about it is in a lot of these games, adventure novel-esque games, you have a choice, but you don't exactly know how that choice is going to play out.
Right.
In the immediate, aftermath of picking that choice. Whereas in this game, you have time powers, so you can pick an option. I don't really like how that was worded, so you can rewind and pick the different one.
Right.
And you can kind of judge the immediate consequences of that, but you don't know the long-term effects that that's going to have.
And that's you can. There's sometimes a decision that seems bad in the moment, and you reverse it, and the other one's like, okay, well, this one clearly is better. A few scenes later, you regret that choice already because everything's not as it seems, and I think they handled that really well. So you have played it. You said your girlfriend hasn't played it.
I actually haven't played it. I watched someone else play it, and now I'm watching someone else play it. But it's that type of game where it's not very in depth with like controls, so I don't really feel like I'm missing anything.
I get that. I get that completely.
Yeah.
I'm playing Before the Storm right now, or I played the first episode. There's only one out so far. I definitely highly recommend, at least just from that first episode. It's only going to be 3 episodes.
Okay, yeah.
It's like a prequel. You play as Chloe.
Right.
Couldn't think of her name.
And there's an extra episode where you play as Max. Sorry.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, there's an extra little thing. We don't know how little or how big that is.
Yeah.
But it's like telling the story of like Chloe and Rachel, and I think it's actually really interesting. It's usually I'm kind of like iffy about prequel stuff, but I think this one is really good so far.
Well, that sounds interesting because the whole relationship between Chloe and Rachel is a big part of the first game.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of like a big mystery that kind of just looms over the whole story. So it was something that was actually interesting to hear.
And then the other game I played a little bit of is a game I've been playing for a while, and that's Yakuza 0.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Yakuza is a Japanese action adventure game by Sega. It's about a man named Kazuma Kiryu who is a member of the Yakuza, and the series is kind of about his life, both in and out of the Yakuza, and trying to balance his, morality and his own personal philosophy with, what a mafia-like organization, which is the Yakuza, would ask you to do.
Right.
Really good game. I've already beaten the main story, and now I'm just doing I guess we were talking about Skyrim earlier. It's like the equivalent of the Civil War quest line in
Okay,
Skyrim, where
yeah.
it's pretty important to the story, but it's optional for the most part, I think. I haven't played Skyrim in forever, so I can't remember if that's optional.
Yeah,
or not.
that's optional. The main story of Skyrim is actually not even that long, I don't think. A
Yeah.
lot of it is side stuff.
Yeah, in Yakuza 0, set in 1988, you control 2 different characters. So you play as the main character of the series, which is Kiryu, and then you control this other guy named Majima, who's kind of like this rogue canon Joker-esque character in the series.
Okay.
And so you play both of them. They're in different cities. Kiryu's in Tokyo, Majima's in Osaka. And you have these 2 side optional stories where with like Kiryu you run like a real estate business. Yeah, I'm serious. And then with
Does it get in the weeds of the real estate?
yeah, like you buy properties and you have to challenge like these 5 billionaires of like the district.
That's cool.
It's Monopoly.
Yeah.
The only game I can think of where I had bought real estate was Fable. That's the only thing I can think of. But
Yeah, and there's a fun part where like you throw down with like the billionaire and you beat him, and like Kiryu's like there's money floating everywhere, and he grabs like a wad of like bills out of the air and fans himself, and like on the screen it says like complete domination, and he's like standing over the guy fanning himself with like dollar bills, or I mean like 100 yen bills. It's pretty great.
Japan.
Yeah. And then the other guy's like optional like quest line is you manage like a cabaret club.
Okay.
So you hire hot ladies and you dress them up, and then you have customers come and you give them refills on drinks. I'm serious.
Well, no, I've heard people say, like, I don't know if it was Yakuza 0, but it's one of them. They had, like, I don't know if it's a card game or some mini game where it's, like, sexy ladies in bug costumes.
I believe it.
Yeah, so I believe, basically, you could come up and you could, like, say anything about Yakuza, like, and I would probably believe you.
I don't know if I'll finish, like, that quest line because it's pretty long and it's a lot of, you know, buying property and turning a revenue and buying more property and resolving conflicts. And it's fun for a lot of part, but then it's pretty long and I'm ready to move on to...
So, like, how far does, like, Yakuza between, like, action stuff and between, like, almost sounds like sim type of stuff, or, like, is
Right.
it, like, balanced between the two? Or is
Oh,
it...
totally. It's, like, when I say, like, you manage real estate, like, it's pretty simple. Like, you buy properties, and then you can upgrade those properties, and you can hire, like, people to, like, help you with your stuff. It's pretty simple. Like, it sounds complicated.
Yeah, you buy hotels on your property
Yeah.
so that when someone passes it, they have to pay more money.
Yeah,
I'm familiar.
Yeah, pretty much. Sometimes you go to jail. It sounds complicated, and when you look at it in game, it looks complicated, but it's pretty simple. And it's again like you, at the end of the day, you beat these quests by like, you know, beating people down with your fists. So
Nice.
Most of the quests like involve you, you know, talking to people and then occasionally throwing down. So.
So is Kiwami next?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna get at. Is that I'm not sure if I want to like complete this quest just because I've already beaten the main story, and I know how like these optional quests end, and it just unlocks like a new like fighting style.
Yeah.
But
So you think you're going to move on?
I think so.
Kiwami?
Yeah.
Nice. There we go. This was your first Yakuza, right?
Yes.
Yakuza 0.
Yeah, I had 3 for the PS3 for a long time, and I never touched it. But I heard 0 was really good, and I just grabbed 0, and it's amazing.
I feel like this is a series I'll end up playing at some point, just because the way people talk about it just sounds so interesting.
Darren, what you need to do is wait for Kiwami 2 to come out, and then a couple years after that, they'll have a Yakuza 0, Kiwami, and Kiwami 2 bundle.
Yeah, apparently
probably.
they just never stop like releasing these. So.
And re-releasing them.
Yeah.
Kiwami and Kiwami 2.
And I do want to dispel like a common like misconception about the series that like news publications like this say. They're like, oh, it's Japanese GTA.
Right.
It is not Japanese GTA. GTA is this big, you know, open world type of thing where you do crimes and you know you have guns, you drive around. You don't do any of that in the series. All the cities are like really small. They're not like actual cities. They're like districts in a city.
Right.
So they're like a few blocks. They're pretty like packed in pretty densely.
Okay.
And you don't. Again, it's all fisticuffs. It's not guns. You can get guns and like they're pretty like powerful stuff, but
It's more of a rarity.
yeah, and it goes into the idea that, you know, if a Yakuza guy is just out on the street killing people, that's going to be a problem with the cops. So, I mean, some of like the beatdown moves you do could probably kill a person, So it's a little like suspension of reality for a second, but
Yeah.
it's all like fist fighting. And you don't drive around, obviously. You just run around everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more like a RPG with like beat 'em up mechanics than GTA, which is like a third person shooter.
Right. It's interesting. I definitely want to play it at some point. And
Yeah.
if people can play the Arkham games and be okay with like, yeah, he didn't kill him, I think they can handle that. Well, Jeffrey, what have you been playing?
Well, my goals last week were I had some pretty big ones, Derby. Play Persona 5 and get through 2 weeks. You know, staple.
Good
Do
goal.
a world in Mario plus Rabbids and play Life is Strange before the storm.
It's pretty tame for you, actually. Usually Jeff has like 6 goals or something that
Trying to rein myself in a little bit.
accomplishes like 2 of them, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I did the Persona one. I did that like I don't know, the next day or something, or that day. Can't
Fourth
remember.
Palace. Is that what you're on?
Yes. I did a bunch of side stuff and then I did the fourth palace, but it was all 2 weeks in the game, so I did that. Played like half of Mario plus Rabbids third world, so I didn't complete that one. I didn't have time for Life is Strange. I've been really busy. But I'll be even more busy playing for games because good news, everyone. I got the SNES Classic.
Yes, Jeff went to the like midnight like launch or whatever. Like he lined up at. Did you go to Walmart?
Yes.
Walmart. And he managed to snag one. I don't know how much of a feat that is. We're recording this on Friday, so I don't really know how hard it's been for people. But for the NES Classic, it was obviously like next to impossible. Yeah. So this might have been a great feat that Jeff just accomplished.
You're the chosen one.
Yeah.
Yay.
But we have not been able to play it.
Nope.
Right now, or Jeff has not been able to play
I will
it yet.
definitely try playing, get some impression on that. What will be interesting is my first console, well, technically Nintendo 64, so I've not played a lot of these games.
Right, yeah.
So a lot of them will be first impressions for me.
A lot of them will be for me too. Some of these I know I've played at like other people's houses and stuff like that, but I never owned. I'm asking you.
I haven't I
In the
played
same
a
boat.
fair amount of these games, but haven't gotten in depth with them. So that'll be good.
It's weird because these, a lot of this was like before our time. It was like
Yeah.
we were like little kids playing,
And Final Fantasy 3, which is more commonly known as Final Fantasy 6, the one with Terra, just so people know.
Yes.
It's one I have not played, so I definitely want to play that one.
So many people say it's like the best one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's one I would definitely try to complete.
Yeah.
A lot of other good games on there.
So yeah, look forward to that in the future. I just want to talk before we get into news. I didn't get to play mini games this week. Like I think my goal was also something about Persona. I didn't touch Persona this week. I watched a lot of Netflix, so
Nerd.
catching up on House of Cards. But I did play the Fortnite PUBG clone thing. It's Fortnite Battle Royale. It's obviously just like kind of a direct copy of PUBG, which PUBG is a copy of like H1Z1. So I'm not saying that in a bad way, but it is. I played probably around 8-ish matches, maybe more because some of my matches I did not last very long. But it's a lot of fun. I was obviously just playing solo, which is fun, but I think it'll definitely be a lot more fun when I can get you guys and we can have a group of
duo
people
or we do squad.
going into this. But it's very intense. I found it. Like I had a few matches where I killed like a lot of people, and those were usually the matches where I like placed the worst. But I did manage to win once. I got like number 1 on one match, and I did that by just completely lurking in the shadows and avoiding everyone as long as I possibly could.
It's the coward's way.
It's
how you win.
It is how you win.
Be a coward.
I have like a picture of like me with the number 1 screen that has like kills 1. I literally killed the last.
I hope the last guy you killed got to see the amount of kills you did and be like,
Oh,
rage.
I have an important question.
Yeah.
So, is it like PUBG where it's this huge open map, and then as time goes on, it gets more and more restrictive?
Yeah, it's
okay.
It's literally. I mean, it's exactly like PUBG.
Okay.
There's
There are
as far as the
more
as
things.
far as just like the concept of what's happening. Like instead of a plane, it's like a bus that's like attached to like a helicopter. It's just like funny looking thing. But you fly in there and everyone like jumps out at
when you want to.
Yeah, whenever you want to go around this map. And it's 100 players. And then, it just every like minute or so, I think the time increments get shorter and shorter as it goes, but it just like closes in, and you have to try to, you have to be out of that area before, or you'll get killed. The only differences are you can't drive. Like, there are vehicles scattered about, but you can't get in them.
I think they said they were going to add those. Like,
Yeah,
they kept on saying they are going to update this, which is good.
I think they will. Yeah, it's kind of bare bones right now, but you get the feeling that they're probably going to add on to it.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, I haven't been able to play PUBG, but just from looking at it, I can already tell that, like, PUBG's, like, shooting and stuff feels better. Like, the shooting is not the best in Fortnite, or at least in this version of Fortnite. But it's one of those for free, and especially if you have a PS4 and you don't have a gaming PC or something, I think it's a pretty good, at least, stand-in for PUBG until it finally comes out on PlayStation. Or, like, I could see if they keep adding to this could be good enough to just stand on its own,
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong on this thing. Other differences between that and PUBG is, in Fortnite you can build stuff, right?
You can. Again, I've only played like a handful of matches, so I haven't really been able to like play around with it that much. So far, I haven't found too many chances to do it or uses for the building. A lot of times because you're just on the move so much with the thing shrinking. But it did on the round where I won. It by the time you get down to like the last like 6 people, you're in a small area. I was able to I ran up to the second story of this house and I built barricades around all the openings so that no one could shoot into me, and they all killed each other, and that's kind of how I lasted out. So that's the only time I've really used the building thing to my advantage was to close myself in.
And another thing I think I saw, I don't know the extent of it. I know in PUBG you shoot through doors and stuff, but not really through the walls, I don't think.
Okay.
Can you do that a little more in Fortnite?
Walls
are more walls are more destructible.
Oh yeah. In Fortnite, a lot of the buildings are destructible. Some of them are not, but sometimes I was in the second story of a house and I heard someone banging on the side of the wall, and they did that long enough and the whole just house came crumbling down. I was like, well, hey.
I saw some people say that it's something they actually may have preferred because then it's easier to find campers to get to them or whatever.
Yeah. And that is good. And especially because there's some small shacks, and if someone won't come out of there, you can just hack into it until they're, Right. Whereas in PUBG, you kind of have to engage them through the door, which they can be aiming towards and get you immediately.
That's cool.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
It's really fun. I want to try it with you guys. And again, anyone listening, this is completely free. You just go Fortnite Battle Royale, or I think you can just download regular Fortnite. But there's 2 different downloads, but I downloaded one that kind of immediately did the other. So go check it out. I definitely think it'll be fun with friends, though.
Yeah.
So
cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Jeff. News jingle.
Jingle, jingle, jangle.
Still a thing.
Like the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie? No, Jingle All the Way. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
If someone wants to send us a jingle to use, they're welcome to. But until then,
or remix what I do. Just take the sound
put
clip
all
and
the tune on Jeff's jingle, jingle, jingle.
The dubstep beats and all that stuff. Yeah. Okay, so strap in, everyone. We got a lot of news. And even though some of it may not be the biggest news, we got a lot of it. So let's get started. Okay, not much to read for the first thing, but odds are if you're listening to this, you know this exists. There's a new Red Dead Redemption 2 trailer.
There is, and Jacob, you really like Red Dead, right?
Oh yeah, no, I'm a huge fan of Westerns, so that game is probably one of the best Western games.
Okay, good, because I can
tell the best.
I can tell you. What do you think? What do you think about the trailer and the fact that it's a prequel, which I don't think we knew, or at least I didn't know.
I think it was highly rumored and speculated. Before it, everyone said, "Oh, we know it's a prequel." We didn't know already.
I at least didn't know that we were going to be playing as. I should have looked up the name, but
it's Arthur Morgan.
Yeah, but he's part of the gang or group or whatever that John Marston was part of before Red Dead Redemption, and it's kind of telling that story, So you're kind of the bad guys, definitely. Yeah. And Arthur Morgan kind of gave, ruthless bad guy Western vibe to it. Mm-hmm. So what did you think about this?
There's not a lot. It's a pretty short trailer.
After a year,
it looks good. It looks really good. Looks beautiful. I think I like that you're not playing as John Marston.
I do too.
I'm glad you're playing as a new character.
Yeah.
With it being a prequel, I mean, I wish that like Red Dead 2 was a completely separate thing, its own story.
Yeah.
But I think it being a new character in a prequel is probably like the best route that they could have gone.
Yeah, I feel like we could kind of get the best of both worlds with this because like it'll be a new story and like they're not gonna like turn around and like mess up quote unquote the Red Dead story by making it too close to it. But at the same time, it is kind of linked to it, and there could be some cool revelations about John Marston's past because he was part of this gang and stuff. I could see there, especially like maybe at the end, there's like we see John Marston or like John Marston leaves the group or something. You know, we see that happening.
Yeah, I hope he's not like a major character in it.
I hope
he has very limited like screen time because I just don't want to see because we're all used to like the John Marston character from Red Dead Redemption, who's this very old and kind of I guess disillusioned man,
right?
And I don't want him. I don't really want to see him being like this young bratty kid that he probably was, like in the game.
I mean, it's like heavily implied. Like, yeah, he wouldn't be like. I mean, the John Marston we know in Red Dead Redemption has like some redeemable qualities. This young John Marston probably would have none. Like, he's just like this outlaw, crazy dude, you know. So,
yeah, part of me thinks a cool idea would have been to do his son set in like the 20s and the 30s because like the West was still a thing during that time, like not the classic West of course, but there's a lot of interesting stuff that rarely gets talked about during that time period.
And that's what I know that people when Red Dead Redemption 2 was first announced, people were talking about that, how like it's gonna be kind of cool because it's kind of like a melding of like classic cowboy stuff, but then also like technology is advancing and stuff, and it's a weird it's kind of like that middle ground there.
Yeah, it's like the 30s and like I guess up into like the 50s West is kind of like an underutilized I think time period in fiction.
Yeah.
But I mean I think that the classic West using a new character is not a bad choice at all.
No, I think so too. I mean I do think, and like do not get me wrong, this game's going to be amazing. Like Rockstar just doesn't make bad games. Red Dead Redemption is one of the best games I ever played, and just the setting and everything looks awesome. I didn't think this trailer was anything like too crazy as far as like specific things that get me excited. I'm more excited about just everything looks like I would want it to in a Red Dead game. But like the lines were kind of just like your typical action.
Yeah, typical Western insults and that sort of thing. Like
exactly.
Make your mom wear black. Like that sort of
like
stuff.
there was nothing leaving that trailer that I'm just like, yes, that particular thing or that surprised me or blew me away, and it's fine. Like I don't think every trailer needs to be something like that. And I would almost rather that kind of thing happen when I play the game than what like I'm going to get this game. It didn't really matter what this trailer was like. I'm gonna get this game.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think it was fine. We didn't get to really talk to you. We had a different episode about this before. We already knew this was going to be happening, but they've even said stuff about like that Red Dead's going to have an online component.
Yeah.
Does that worry you, excite you, or anything? Like, because when we look at GTA Online, which has obviously made them so much money and stuff.
I mean, as long as it doesn't take away from the single player story, like it's fine, do whatever. I'm probably not going to touch it, but maybe I might. Who knows?
I mean, if they make it fun, if like me, you, I think Will's probably going to get it. Anthony, I'm sure, is going to get it. And it could be a fun thing. Like I'm more interested in that world than I am GTA. So if it's a different type of thing and it's something that kind of appeals to me, like all four of us riding around as cowboys, or something, could be fun.
You're gonna get a PUBG mode in this, and you jump off like a flying cow. Calling it. That's my contribution to this.
Everyone's just like sitting on this cow.
Yeah, that's my contribution to this conversation.
It's a good one, Jeff. It's a good one.
I mean the online stuff again. I hope it doesn't intrude too much. If it does, then that's disappointing.
Yeah.
But fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm interested to see that from an outside perspective. Like, how does GTA Online change Rockstar as far as their single player content?
I mean, like it's gonna be. I imagine it's probably gonna be at least a hefty chunk part of like. whatever Red Dead Online is going to be after what GTA Online has done. I don't think Rockstar as a company could say, like, nah, we don't want to do that. It's gonna.
I mean, I agree with that. Yeah, it's more of how's that going to affect their single player thing?
Yeah, and is it going to still be two separate entities like GTA is, or are they going to try to merge them at all? I imagine it will still be separate because I think most of the people who want want Red Dead want it because it's an awesome story.
Yeah, I think so.
But you never know what they'll try to do with it.
They got enough manpower and money to do both.
I could cut this out. I could see if Anthony wants to talk about it because I know Anthony's obsessed with Red Dead Redemption. Anthony,
Yeah.
do you want to say anything about Red Dead Redemption?
I mean, I'm excited for it. It looks awesome.
Anthony, you ruined the moment.
You
You should have said that's dope right there.
Come to the microphone.
Dope.
And talk. Just for a minute. Okay, hello, special guest Anthony Miller. What do you think about the new Red Dead?
I think it looks dope. But
That's what I was hoping you do.
Hope that's on like the box.
But like I was just saying, I don't know how I
Look
feel.
into the mic, Anthony. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know.
I
I don't know how I feel about playing as a bad guy. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Even-
I have such moral issues with like fictional realities that I don't know if I could do it and like go to sleep at night without.
If they sit there like the game's forcing you that no, you have to kill this family. Anthony's like, I
That's
can't.
a good
I'm not
point
doing
though.
that.
Like, how is it going to conflict with like your choices versus like the
Right.
story it's trying to tell?
Because there has to be some like personal like redeeming qualities to the guy, right?
I could see this being like, well, even John Marston is
Yeah.
not just a goody goody dude.
Yeah.
Like even in Red Dead Redemption, John Marston did some like very, very bad things.
Mhm.
I could see this kind of taking that kind of turn with this guy. I forgot his name, Arthur Morgan. I could see it being like, yeah, he starts off really evil, but maybe some things cross his moral boundaries, or I could see him being a gray character like that.
Well, see, that's another thing because in Red Dead Redemption, you don't hear the name Arthur Morgan ever. So he's not. He's probably dead. So he's probably gonna die.
Probably, yeah.
So he probably
yeah.
comes like in bad standings with the gang somehow, and I'm
Yeah.
assuming there's going to be some moral conflict that causes that, which is good to me because I don't want to play as a dickhead the whole
Yeah.
game.
Yeah, that is true. I hadn't even really thought about that. Like, and he definitely. I mean, like, he seems like a straight up bad guy, like in the trailer. He
Yeah.
seems like what you would expect from this like gang of misfits, Western setting.
But there was that clip in the trailer of the girl saying like he's the only one that she trusts out of.
Yeah.
So- He has to have some like human qualities.
I would imagine he will. I mean, like, it's one of those things. I think it's hard to tell the story if he doesn't. But it would be interesting to see where Rockstar goes if it's just like, nope, you're straight up playing a bad guy, and it's
Yeah.
just like, what are the ramifications?
I mean, that would be cool in its own way, for sure.
It would just might give Anthony stress when he's
Yeah.
Yeah.
doesn't want to
Pulling
be
my hair
evil.
out.
So I guess you
No,
didn't
don't
choose
do
evil
that.
in Infamous or evil.
No.
You never choose evil.
I've never done an evil playthrough in any of those games.
I did an evil playthrough in Fallout 4 and it was the funnest thing ever.
It's pretty
as much
fun
as
to-
Fallout 4 could let me
It's
do
pretty
that.
fun to be evil in Bethesda games because
Yeah,
just
it's kind of comically fun.
yeah, it's just kind of like I can do evil in a second playthrough. Like my second playthrough in all the Fable games, I would go
Yeah.
evil.
Yeah.
But even then, like by the end of Fable 2, like I remember I chose the evil ending. If you ever play Fable 2, it's like literally you can save everyone. You can save your dog as the middle option, or you can just sacrifice everyone and get a bunch of money. I felt bad. I felt like legitimately bad at the end of Fable 2.
See, it's interesting because when I started playing RPGs and started with like KOTOR, like Knights of the Old Republic,
Yeah.
I definitely played bad guy like every playthrough. Like I never played as a good guy, but I think it like that messed me up. I mean, like I had so many regrets and I never played a bad guy.
Explains a lot.
Yeah. but I tried in Fallout 3, like my second playthrough, I tried to be evil. I never made it past Megaton because it's
yeah.
because it's like
You
you,
get that
get,
option,
you just
yeah.
keep racking up like bad karma and like everyone. It's eventually everyone in the town is trying to kill you. So it's like a
Keep
life
doing
lesson.
And eventually you just blow up the entire town. It's like,
Yep,
At least that one girl who turns into a ghoul, she wasn't that mad, so, it's...
true.
Well, thank you, Anthony.
You're welcome.
Thank you for
I also want to say that game looks really good.
Oh, yeah,
it's
visually
like
looks like really
Facial
really good.
animations,
It does.
like yeah, it looks great. The whole aesthetic is awesome, and the music was really good.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
I'm so excited to see what, like, just
I am excited for
what
this
Red
story.
Dead looks like now. Like, his Red Dead looked so great then, and just like all the mechanics were so like groundbreaking then. But to see what Rockstar is going to do with it now is just
I'm excited.
That's definitely going to be one of those games that has a potential to be
Definitely.
really really good.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you for making your cameo appearance.
You're welcome.
You got my seat.
It should be like whatever the podcast name is, featuring Jacob Hamill, featuring Anthony.
Yeah, just keep
Feature,
at it.
featuring.
We'll go find someone else to put
Yeah.
featuring on.
Yep.
All right, Jeff. Let's move on.
Okay, first regular story then. This comes from Hope Corrigan from IGN. The Screen Actors Guild, so known as American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, so known as SAG-AFTRA.
Yeah, I don't think we ever have to say that again. I think
Yeah.
just say SAG.
I mean, I will from now.
Yes.
No, of course. Has announced the video game voice actor strike will come to an end. After running for nearly a year, the strike against 11 video game companies has reached a tentative agreement, which will provide performers with a new bonus structure in the form of additional payment. Bonuses are based on sessions worked, starting with $75 for the first session and then accruing to $2,100 after 10 sessions. Bonus must be paid on or before the game is released. This appears to be a different arrangement to the revenue-based payments some developers agreed to back in May. SAG's Chief Contracts Officer, Ray Rodriguez, says the new terms are beneficial to voice actors due to increased transparency in contracts. He explains that companies will now need to disclose more information about projects such as code names, genres, and if any sexual or violent content is featured. Included in the contract is also a requirement for employers to commit to working with SAG further on vocal stress issues. There have also been several omissions of management proposals, which included fines for late or distracted performers. The SAG National Board would officially review the new contract at its upcoming meeting in October.
So this has kind of been a long running thing. Like, this strike's been going on for a while, and we're finally seeing it affect video games like Life is Strange with Ashley Bridge going away.
Yeah.
So obviously, I don't know enough about the deep legal stuff and all the things they were looking for in the strike and what goes on in the video game industry to talk about that in a constructive way. But from a consumer standpoint, it's good that this is over.
Yeah.
Because I was worried that if this didn't end soon, and I still think even though it's ending, it's not even over right now. It's ending. We're still gonna see effects. For games that were started during this time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a thing for it'll range, but for about a year period, these voice actors may not be in games, will not be in games for these 11 studios, which I don't know them all on top of my head, of course.
Yeah, I mean, they were a lot of the big ones, so
Yeah.
definitely could see maybe some other,
Yeah.
It's at least there's going to be some game bigger than Life is Strange that's going to be affected by
Yeah,
this.
I guess it means there was Square and Sony, at least, with two of them.
Yeah. So I could see, I hope not, but I wonder if the next Tomb Raider or something has some problem with that. But I hope not, because I like the Lara Croft voice actress. I forgot her name. I never remember her name. But it was good. It kind of seems like SAG didn't get everything they were asking for.
Yeah.
I think you rarely do in strikes, but there was definitely some things. But
you ask for a lot, so then when you get,
Exactly.
yeah, because it's
Shoot
always
high
gonna be
and sell for less.
Yes.
Exactly. And it definitely, this again, just kind of speaking from just random 21-year-old college student who's not worked in the video game industry like this, it does seem like there was definitely some problems with the way, some voice actors and actresses just weren't paid that much or had to the vocal stress problems, or they would have to sign on to a project not even knowing the character they're going to play.
Yeah, that's the crazy part.
It's insane to me.
Yeah.
How are you expected to be able to perform or agree to perform on something that you don't even know?
This doesn't happen in the film industry, as far as I know,
Yeah.
or the television industry.
No, it doesn't, and it's weird. The video game industry is definitely kind of we'll kind of talk about the toxicity of it later, but it's way more secretive than any other industry, and because I feel like the fan base in games react so much more to leaks or to other things or read into stuff. But movies, I feel
the moment the contract is signed, it's hey, this is happening.
Yeah, really.
Well, movies obviously they'll hide for spoilers for Star Wars and stuff, but we knew the moment Star Wars was filming, they're yep, we're doing this or whatever.
And we
It's
have
just
another
like-
one planned, and then a couple spin-offs.
Yeah.
All this is planned.
And it's just like, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
But with the games, it's like everything has to be very secretive and
Yeah.
stuff. And the media, and even people like us, are kind of, we attribute to that because, like, we talk about games, like, where's this game? It's been in development for so long. Why isn't it here? Or it's delayed, or you freak out, And I feel like there's more fanfare to, like, even announcements in the gaming industry than...
Where's Sucker Punch's game?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think the video game industry's like obsession with secrecy is kind of rooted in its roots to like the tech sector, where you want to be hush hush about this technology, but then when it comes to like entertainment stuff, it doesn't really correlate or translate very well.
And it's also like kind of the gaming industry is built on hype. Like when Fallout 4 came out and no one knew that was happening. It's like, and it's happening in just a few months. It was a crazy, like, amazing announcement. And, I don't know. We just pay attention to these things more. You don't hear people saying like, where's Star Wars? Where's whatever movie? It's just, I feel like those are a lot more like, yep, it's out when it's out.
Yep.
But,
and when video games are pushed back, it's like, oh no, when a movie happens to get pushed back, it doesn't happen crazy often, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, especially when they're close. But when that happens, everyone's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. At least from my perspective, but I'm definitely more ingrained in the like video game world. But yeah, I mean, you gotta be able to know what you're acting when you sign on. It's crazy.
It's so
to me.
like asinine. It boggles my mind.
But overall, I think this is a good thing. Good thing for gamers.
Yeah,
definitely.
This is ending.
And just thinking about maybe I should try to look at some voice actors and see if they said that are part of this.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, SAC's huge.
Yeah.
Like most of the big ones, like Troy Baker, Ashley Burge.
Yeah. See their general reactions to it.
Yeah, and I mean, this was the strike was kind of a controversial thing. Like, there were some voice actors and actresses that were like, I don't want to be a part of this strike. Like, they like didn't think there was a problem, and then there was other ones that were like, no, we need these things. Like, and this is an issue. And it's interesting. And also, people have talked about, is this gonna end up leading to game developers forming a union like this? So that's been part of the conversation. Like after this, and again, I don't know enough about it. I usually lean towards the not having a union thing because I feel like they're constricting a lot of times, but also some people need the union to fight for them in these situations. So
and there's obviously like a lot of, I think, I'd say abuse going on like in the workplace with voice actors, like the long sessions that would like destroy their voices. I mean, that's not okay. So.
Yeah. And it's happening in game development with like crunch and stuff like that. There's definitely some problems,
I think there's a thing also about like not having certified technicians on scene for mocap, which can be dangerous actually. If you're mocapping a scene, an action scene, and there's no trained personnel on hand, like what if you get into an accident?
Right. Yeah. Because especially now we've gotten to the point where like acting for a video game in mocap is almost like acting in a movie. Like a lot of times it's getting more and more in depth and more involved, and you're actually doing things.
Like they have that like in the film industry with like stunt guys that'd be like no one would do that, like not have someone on hand in case there's an accident.
It's just one of those things. It's like the video game industry is still kind of growing up, and this is one of those things that this is one of the stepping stones to like as video games become more of a mature medium like film. These are the type of things that have to happen, to get all the rules squared away to make everyone.
Yep.
So I'd be very interested to see if this progresses more into like game developer side. I think they're the next one in the target. I think.
That was a big
like
point of contention between the developers and the voice actors. It was who puts in the most work in this industry.
Right. And I think a lot of the voice actors weren't arguing that I think the game developers are the ones that put in an insane amount of hours and stuff. It was just. There was definitely these are some things that needed to be addressed on the actor side. But it's interesting. Like I've been reading Jason Schreier's book, still the Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, and they talk about like some of the people in there talk about like yes, game development is a grueling process, and like you don't see your family, you stay until 3 a.m. at the office and do all this stuff or whatever. And like some of it's a problem, but they're also like a lot of them say like even if I didn't have to do this, I would do this because like you care about the project and they crunch because they want to, but then it's also like you can't say that for everyone.
Yeah.
And even if, like in the book, they even talk about some of them. It's like, yeah, technically we're allowed to leave anytime you want, but if you go home at 6 every day and all your coworkers stay till 3 a.m., you're gonna look bad.
Yeah.
You know, so interesting. I would love to talk about that more.
Yeah.
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 Okay, well, the next thing. It's also from Hope Corrigan from IGN. French media conglomerate Vivendi is reportedly in the process of deciding whether it should increase its stock holdings in Ubisoft or sell its shares. Ubisoft CEO, I forget how you pronounce it.
We need to learn
US
because we have to say his name a lot.
Yeah, U.S. Guillemot has previously called the potential of a Vivendi takeover a disaster, but a Bloomberg report of an AGM interview with Vivendi executives indicates that the media giant, which previously owned Activision, may be starting to look elsewhere. That's by no means certain, however. Vivendi already owns 26% of the French publisher, and later this year its shareholders' voting rights will increase, allowing it to potentially bring that share up to 30%. Under French law, this would put Vivendi over a threshold where it is required to bid for a Ubisoft takeover. Vivendi has requested a board seat and was rejected, and Guillemot continues to dodge Vivendi's control over his family's business. Last year, Guillemot managed to convince other shareholders that Ubisoft as a company would thrive under the current board's control. In the last 12 months, stock prices have risen by 70%. And Guillemot explained to Bloomberg in a separate interview, a video game company cannot grow within a media conglomerate. In our industry, independence is needed to take risks, to be innovative. That is not compatible with Vivendi's way of operating. And then, it just goes on a little more, saying, Guillemot is looking to secure the future of the company with new technology like cloud gaming, artificial intelligence, and virtual and augmented reality. Ubisoft is also looking to expand its new markets the company isn't covering well, such as Asia and Russia. Not there.
Yeah. It's been a crazy story the whole time, this whole Vivendi takeover, and I honestly didn't expect Ubisoft to be able to come back from it.
Yeah.
Like,
I guess we still don't know which way it's going, but it's looking better for them.
it's at least looking far better than I ever expected it to.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times businesses usually can't fight hostile takeovers like this. I mean, usually once that's happening, it's happening. And I did not expect this to even take the turn it is taking. But they're making like a big effort to try to stay independent. Obviously, again, I don't think any of us really know corporate politics that well and stuff like this, but it's always been so crazy to me to think that there's this other company that's literally just trying to take you over, and there's like nothing you can do about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird world to think of Ubisoft as the underdog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I even saw like there was like a clip of like someone from Vivendi. They were like interviewing him, and he just seemed like a stereotypical like Bond villain almost. And he was just like, "No, we're not taking them over. We're just,
helping them."
Yeah, it'll be fine. Don't you worry." Like, jeez.
Hey, yeah, I'm glad this is going the other way. Especially since, as this article says, Ubisoft is looking a lot better sales-wise and everything. It's just doing better as a company.
This is a crazy
They've been
year
killing
for them
it.
with Ghost Recon, Mario plus Rabbids. And
For Honor.
they're gonna have Assassin's Creed.
They have Far Cry next year.
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. So, good for Ubisoft, and hopefully, this continues the direction it's going.
I hope so.
Yeah. This next article comes from Eddie McCook from GameSpot. Ubisoft has announced a new game mode for Assassin's Creed Origins, and it might not be what you expect. Discovery Tour, as it's called, is a casual mode coming in 2018 for free that removes all combat so players can freely explore the ancient Egypt setting. While in Discovery Tour mode, you're apparently able to walk or ride for the entirety of the game, including locations such as Alexandria, Memphis, the Nile Delta, the Giza Plateau, the Fayum Mesa, and the Great Sand Seas. There's no combat, no story, and no time limits. The whole point, it seems, is to help players understand the history of ancient Egypt. Discovery Tour will include dozens of guided tours that were organized by actual historians and experts that will focus on things like the Great Pyramids, the mummification process, and Cleopatra's life, among other things. And Ubisoft shared only one image from it showing part of the mummification process.
Hard word.
Yeah. And again, this comes out next year as a free update, and the game comes out October 27th on Xbox One, PS4, and PC.
Like, do you guys think this is as cool as I do?
Oh yeah,
I think
this
this
is
is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I want your character to have like headphones, little cassette tape, like you'd be like in a museum, like walking around.
He's like giving you the tour guide thing. He's
Yeah.
like, and this is Cleopatra.
You're like this very pleasant British woman to like talk over.
And then the other NPCs over you like, is he a wizard? What is that contraption?
Yeah, what's going into the age tag? No, and it's cool because I've even heard people talking about this like a long time ago with Assassin's Creed games where I think it might have been Brian Altano, but it was someone was talking about showing his mom who like doesn't play video games and like walking around Assassin's Creed and be like, look, they like recreated like Rome or wherever it was, like, and like look at how beautiful everything looks and it's like historically accurate and it's like, oh wow, this is really pretty, and then someone jumps out and like stabs him and he has to like get this bloody bath. They're like, oh dear God, and everything. I think it's cool to have this. I mean, like, if anything, it's just like this mode was probably not hard for them to do. You just take out the enemies and like add some other stuff,
Or at least make the enemies passive.
Yeah.
But it allows you to like even just showing it to like your family or something to be like, look at it's an art piece. Like, look at how beautiful this is, just kind of standing on its own without it being a video game. And for like kind of like it says, it could be used as like a historical thing. And there's been articles where people talked about they use like some Assassin's Creed stuff to teach their history class.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that'll be a good thing because, people will play Assassin's Creed, but they might, in the course of the regular story, get a little more interested in Egypt, and they just play the game more to learn more.
Yeah, there's plenty of kids and teenagers who like Assassin's Creed, so why not, teach them a little stuff too.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's cool because like, and there was even people talking about like, I want to use this in my class, but you can't really justify walking out there and then there's blood and killing all over the place. So it's a cool way to kind of have that and not have it. And even some of my favorite gaming memories are like walking around Witcher 3 doing nothing, not fighting anyone. So it's just cool. I hope other games do this more, even though it makes more sense for Assassin's Creed because the historical thing. But
Yeah. Okay, so we're ready to move on?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, this story comes from Yuji Nakamura and Yuki Kawa from Bloomberg. Sony Corp's gaming chief Andrew House sees limited global potential for handheld gaming in the age of smartphones, saying that the company doesn't have any concrete plans to take on Nintendo company's Switch. And House said in an interview at Tokyo Game Show, the Nintendo device is a hybrid device, and that's a different approach and strategy. We have not seen that as being a huge market opportunity, he said, referring to handheld gaming outside of Japan and Asia, where Sony still sells the Vita portable device. And Sony's focus for now is to deliver more products and services for the living room, including virtual reality and non-gaming entertainment such as TV shows and music, with the PlayStation 4 console serving as a key digital entertainment hub. That sounds familiar. Although Sony has been selling portable gaming machines for more than a decade, they haven't caught on, and no updates for the Vita were announced at the show. Since taking the helm in 2012, Chief Executive Officer Kazuo Hirai has pushed the Tokyo-based company to be more focused on fewer products. House continues to say the Vita experience was that outside of Japan and Asia, there was not a huge demand. The lifestyle shift toward the dominance of smartphones as the single key device that is always with you was the determining factor. And yeah, it just pretty much goes on to say people were expecting a new Vita device potentially, but yeah, it's not happening obviously.
The dream is dead.
No Vita 2.
All 24 of you. I'm
The
sorry.
Vita is dead. Long live the Vita.
It is sad though, because the Vita is a good handheld.
No,
device.
I had one, but then I sold it because they got no games.
I mean, it's
but it does have plenty of games.
Okay, but they had the kind of games I felt like they kind of promised.
and it wasn't continuing to be supported.
Yeah.
Right.
Or at least not in the AAA level. Like, indies were kind of still supporting
indies and
it.
niche
And
Japanese titles.
It was okay. I traded a failing device for another failing device, also known as the Wii U.
Yeah, I mean, hardware-wise, the Vita, I still think is like one of the best handhelds to ever exist. It just wasn't. It was the weird catch-22 where like Sony didn't support it because nobody bought it, but nobody bought it because Sony didn't support it.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing that almost seems to be happening with the VR again. I hope not, but PSVR is looking similar. They're starting to not talk about it very much, so I don't know.
Except in Japan.
So I mean, it's not surprising enough. I do like kind of funny. I think they said that like Sony is crazy enough to try to beat it again. Like they're crazy enough to do it, but like I wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have been the most surprising thing if they tried something else. But
Yeah.
especially with the Switch coming on.
I think part of it is, at least right now, I mean, they could change their mind in the future. He's just trying to throw people off. Right now, their PlayStation 4, as far as the home console thing, so far ahead, and, you know, beaters that not work out well. They didn't seem to want to put in the effort into it with games.
Yeah.
So they probably think, we'll just focus on PS4. We're working well with how much we're focusing on it right now with the exclusives and stuff, so we'll just keep on doing that.
Yeah.
That's making the money.
I hope. I mean, like, it seems like the game industry goes in cycles. One company gets too comfortable and gets too cocky, and then the other company, like, comes and takes their lunch.
Yep,
and stuff.
that's how it goes.
It's happened multiple times back and forth between Sony and Microsoft, and it does in some ways seem like Sony's just getting comfortable, like not allowing crossplay when everyone else is, you know, doing it's just like nails in the coffin, if you know.
So Microsoft's going to win next gen, right?
Oh, I think so.
I mean, like that's I'm saying that's just the way this industry has gone for like 20 plus years.
Yeah.
But again, probably be a big time at some point. Microsoft needs to do better with exclusives.
I mean, it could be Nintendo. Like, I don't think Nintendo's ever going to take like have a stranglehold on the market like Sony does. But
still sell really well.
I think they're going to segment it more than they ever have before. Even in the Wii days, after a while, none of the like hardcore gaming audience was playing the Wii. It was mostly non-gaming people, and it just became shovelware. And
then some of those hardcore people are getting just for Nintendo games.
Yeah, at least the Switch, like, it's never going to sell as much as the Wii, but it's selling well, and it's selling well with us. Yeah. You know, with like people who like are very like dedicated to this stuff. So I could see Nintendo kind of being more of Sony's competitor than Microsoft. Giving time. You know?
Yeah, it's like Microsoft is in a weird place where they're the Xbox One X is not doing what they expected it to do, and so it's curious.
The messaging has been weird, and it's just
I
really don't see people buying it that much. I might be wrong. I might be eating my words, but
I'm interested to see how the next full like generation release will look like between Microsoft and Sony, because Sony is getting too complacent, but Microsoft also isn't doing too well as far as
they're having some identity problems between like PC and Xbox. And they're starting to merge, and there's
it's interesting.
Well, we'll see how this goes. Next story comes from Alex Giladov from IGN. Neo Complete Edition was announced at Tokyo Game Show and will be released in Japan later this year. It's reported by Gamatsu. Neo Complete Edition includes the base game of Team Ninja's action RPG, along with all 3 add-ons, Dragon of the North, Defiant Honor, and Bloodshed. The game will be available digitally in Japan on November 7th, followed by a physical release on December 7th, with both versions priced at 5,800 yen. The digital release will feature 5 new weapons, while the physical release will include a mini soundtrack CD and a strategy guide for the game's beginning. There's currently no word if Neo Complete Edition will be released in the West.
Cool.
Yep.
That's cool.
Give the game another life.
Yep.
Did you ever play Neo?
That's a Black Friday game for me. So.
Yep.
Now, but okay, question: does this potentially change it, knowing that the Complete Edition exists? We don't have it announced for the West yet, but
I don't know. I did play the beta of Neo, and I really liked it. So I'm eager enough to play it to where I don't really care about waiting for the full.
Okay.
I
guess you like enough, and you just get the DLC on its own.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure hearing this made people who are, waiting. It's like, I'll wait longer now.
Yeah, that is the bad part about it, I guess. Yeah, it definitely seems like I'm glad that game needs to get even more love than it did, because it got a lot of love, but then a bunch of games came out. So
I think it's first the games that were really good that came out all the time. Neo was the one that was hit the hardest.
Probably.
I think so. From it more.
But I still think
I know it's sold over 1 million.
Yeah, it did better than they probably ever expected it to. Yeah. Just because it got right before. Neo just swooped in right before Zelda.
But it was close enough to where people were like, I'm gonna wait for these games because Switch is coming out, Persona and all that stuff. So hopefully this game just continues to sell.
I suck too much. I will die.
Yeah. I did not do good in the beta. Okay. Guys, we like talking about PUBG, right?
We do for a game that
And Fortnite.
for a game that none of us have been able to play. Yeah, we talk about it a lot.
We got a couple stories in a row, so let's do the first one. Important note: this article by Kevin Knezovic from GameSpot was written on Wednesday, September 27th, because it makes sense in context. Okay. Fortnite standalone Battle Royale mode launched yesterday for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. And despite objections from PlayerUnknown's Battleground developer Bluehole, it's already off to an impressive start. Today, also known as Wednesday, Epic revealed that more than 1 million players played the title on launch day. Like PUBG, Battle Royale is a 100-player... I don't need to really do that. We talked about that.
Yeah.
But, okay, pretty much describes what it is, and then it caused PUBG developer Bluehole to speak out against the game last week. Bluehole Vice President and Executive Producer Chang Han Kim said, "We've had an ongoing relationship with Epic Games throughout PUBG's development, as they are the creators of Unity Engine 4, the engine we licensed for the game. After listening to the growing feedback from our community and reviewing the gameplay for ourselves, we are concerned that Fortnite may be replicating the experience for which PUBG is known." Han Kim also said that Bluehole was considering taking some kind of action against Epic.
Yeah, so I kind of regretted that last week we recorded a little early, and it was I felt like it was very shortly after we recorded this kind of blew up with Bluehole
So
calling out Fortnite in a press release, which a lot of people have said is not a unique take. I feel like it was the best thing. PUBG coming after Fortnite was the best thing that ever could have happened to Fortnite.
yeah, that's not an unpopular opinion for sure.
No, because you literally this would have remained this kind of weird clone thing, which is kind of weird to say.
Okay,
when
I'm going to
PUBG
say
was
this
already,
real quick. I know we say clone and stuff because PUBG is the big one doing this now, but this to me, because they added their own little twist to it, it looks like. This is any different than when fighting games became a thing, or shooters, or anything in my mind.
Yeah, Battle Royale is a genre, not
and
a unique thing.
PUBG is borrowing from H1Z1, and H1Z1's borrowing from something else.
So again, get to the opinion of PUBG just needs to be quiet.
I agree. Yeah,
and focus on the game.
Number one, you don't have room to talk, and just especially coming out in a press release that's going out to everyone and acknowledging this game and pointing it out. You're never going to win the fight because you're already copying something else. This is how games work, and you're drawing attention to it. There are a lot of people, a lot of PS4 owners out there, and a lot of them are like us and don't have a gaming PC that they can play PUBG with, and they're hearing about PUBG constantly. A lot of people might not have even been aware that this was a thing, this Fortnite thing.
Oh, I saw so many comments I didn't even know it was a thing until PUBG said.
And all PUBG's doing, all that press release does is just, hey, there's a free version of our game that you can play on PS4.
Well, even Xbox One, because PUBG's not out yet, we don't know when that's coming out. So even Xbox One players hey, we don't know when the PUBG's coming out. Let's play this, and it's free.
It was really a puzzling PR move. It really makes it seems like a move made out of emotion that does not benefit you.
Yeah, everyone now knows you're a competitor, and it makes you look bad. It's like you're full of yourself.
Yeah, it makes them look like the bad guys, and it makes them. Even though Epic is a much, 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 much bigger company than Bluehole. Bluehole was a tiny thing that just happened to get big, but now it makes it look like Epic is the the good guys that are just. It's just kind of.
Yeah,
weird.
it just makes PlayerUnknown look like a jerk.
Yeah.
She probably is. I mean, I don't know, but I wouldn't be
He
surprised.
is very aggressive on Twitter and stuff. I don't like, so it's kind of frustrating. And I would be interested to see, had this not happened, I wonder if they still would have made that over 1 million players in the first week thing.
I don't. Well, on launch day,
Yeah.
Probably not, but in a way, I think it may have helped Fortnite in the short term, really quickly, but maybe not in the long term, because as long as it's good, which it seems to be, people are liking it.
Yeah.
The word of mouth PUBG would have grown, I think.
Yeah, it might.
It's just how Kickstarted.
And having that, first big launch is good. And this will probably, if people like me, if I end up really liking this, and the biggest thing is they have to like get on supporting this.
Yeah.
Like they have to keep it fresh so that people
Which,
like me stay on.
I know it's not on here, but they keep on saying stuff about updates. So
Yeah.
it looks like they
but
are.
who knows? Like I knew about Fortnite, but I never really looked into it until this. Like this is what got me in the door, and there's lots of people like me, obviously. If I have enough fun with it, I might end up getting the regular Fortnite, and they might have me as a player now. So it's kind of huge that they got that first start.
Well, depending how they go with this, they might be able to keep this, at least I don't know. I haven't read enough to know about their main game plan about their Battle Royale stuff. They may keep that because I think they said they are going to introduce microtransactions. I don't know if that's for sure. That's just people been saying.
It's free to play. They have to. They have to get the money.
I was saying do that and then just have a free Battle Royale game.
And as long as it's not like intrusive microtransactions, if it's just cosmetic and they do it right, then
Though I don't know, they'll have to change something because I know right now your character is random the way it looks. Yeah, so they got to have your set character and then
playing it feels like it even like pops up and says like early access. It feels like a not complete product. Yeah,
well, so
just like
PUBG.
Just like PUBG is
PUBG,
not. Yeah, just like PUBG is not. I was like, if they keep on this, I feel like they could retain the player base. If it takes them like months and months and months and months to change it at all, then people like me are gonna fall off. It's just kind of we have to wait and see how they handle it.
Yeah. Right now, it's like Epic's doing a good job for being smart business-wise.
It really is like Christmas. I mean, like you're able to bring this. Like everyone wants to play this type of game, but you're bringing it to this entire like audience that can't access this game, and you're giving them a free version of it. It's yeah.
Okay. Well, speaking of PUBG on the PS4, this comes from Yuji Nakamura and Sam Kim from Bloomberg. Okay, it's a really long article. I'm pretty much just reading a paragraph, the important bits.
Yeah, it's the important part for this.
Chain Byung-gi, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that. Bluehole Incorporated's founder says his company has had talks with all of the major console companies about bringing PUBG to a broader audience. That includes Nintendo, though. Microsoft Corporation will launch the title exclusively on Xbox later this year. Bluehole's in talks with Sony about introducing a version for the PlayStation after that.
So the only one that he named was Sony, but he said... Yeah, but he said we were in contact with all major consoles.
What does that mean?
Big. There's not too many major consoles besides Microsoft and Sony. I mean, like
that Atari box. Ooh.
If it goes to the Atari box and not the Switch.
Well, yeah, I'll say it depends if he considers Nintendo a major one or if you do or whatever. He could.
I mean, it's one of these things. It's phrasing, it's language. Yeah. It could just
translation thing as well. Yeah.
Yeah, he could have just been saying. He could have just been referring to Microsoft and Sony. But
I'm saying seriously thing he's talking about Nintendo, but he knows.
it would be awesome. It would be really cool if he was. It's just he said like all major companies, and then he said, and we're in talks with Sony. It kind of just made it seem like there might have been, but I feel like it's just. Map size in general is going to be too big for the Switch, but we'll see.
Zelda.
Just like rendering, but like Zelda doesn't have to render the whole thing at once. Like it's not like a collective thing where there's like 100 people playing in one thing. I mean, it's still like it might not. I think it could do it, but it's also like he has to develop it for. They have to develop it for that too.
Yeah, another word about Xbox first, and then
if it does come, it'll probably be a long way down the line.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about this. I know we want to talk a little more about this, but I think the next article may add some stuff to what we say. So I'll just read that real quick, okay? This comes from Jordan Storani from IGN, and this was announced like right before we started recording this. PlayerUnknown's Battleground developer Bluehole has announced the formation of PUBG Corp, a subsidiary devoted to the game. And I can't remember if I said it. This is from Jordan Storani from IGN, so just make sure I said it. PUBG Corp CEO Chang-Han Kim, previously served the Bluehole's vice president, said, given PlayerUnknown's Battleground's global success, we want to ensure that we have the operational efficiency that is required to support the game globally. This new structure allows us to be nimble as we look toward the expansion of strategic business opportunities that include the game's potential in the esports sector and the growth of PUBG as a true global IP franchise. End quote. And in an effort to create more centralized points of contact for players around the world, The newly formed subsidiary has opened an office in the United States, with locations in Europe and Japan to follow. So they being expanded. So this probably means good thing as far as getting the PS4 version or whatever other version you're talking about, getting to work quickly and getting this thing done.
Yeah.
It's really no surprise that you sell 10 million copies.
Oh,
you're going to start becoming a bigger...
Actually, Darby, it's 13 million now.
Oh, okay. Wow. Sorry, my number is probably like a week and a half old. That's how fast this thing's selling. Yeah.
That's great. That's a good number.
You don't have something like that happen overnight and not expand your company.
Fun fact, on the sales thing, it said in the article, or the thing I saw, it surpassed Skyrim and Half-Life 2 on
Wow.
Steam.
Okay. That's wow. Okay.
And it only started being talked about this year. It was like the summer. It was like when
it launched in March.
Yeah. Was it that recently just got the 2 million sales?
And we were like, really good.
PUBG 13 million.
Again, I don't think it's that hyperbolic. I think I said in the podcast last week I was worried about sounding hyperbolic. I think PUBG is one of the biggest happenings in the gaming industry in years. Probably one of the biggest things in our lifetime because it just shot up so fast.
And it's only on Steam.
Yeah, it's in one platform.
So business-wise, it makes sense they want to make something that's completely just focused on this so they can get all the other stuff done faster and the updates keep the updates
you
coming.
need to try to make this as legitimate and big as it can be before it dies down.
Yeah.
It's crazy. This is a phenomenon.
Again, they definitely... Probably the reason they're upset about the whole Fortnite thing. They want to definitely try to get this done before more clones, in quotes, start popping up.
They want to corner the market.
Yeah.
And I think they still will. Fortnite's never going to reach those levels, but they definitely helped Fortnite along through what they've done. But
So, you guys think we're done talking about PUBG and Fortnite and stuff for now?
I think so. That was a pretty long segment.
Yep. Okay. This comes from Gypsy WB. That's a person like Screamman or whatever, and the community admin of WB Games community page. The Fort Hog Orc Slayer DLC was created, and this is them, talking about this.
Yeah.
So, Fort Hog Orc Slayer DLC was created by the team at Monolith Productions to immortalize Michael Forgy. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. A dear friend and colleague, and to raise funds to help support his widow and children. Specifically, we decided to sell the DLC worldwide and donate all profits from the DLC to the family. Although we decided to donate all profits to the family, we only plan to actively promote this donation in the U.S., excluding certain states based on their charitable promotion laws. We hope this approach would raise as much money as possible for the Forgy family in compliance with the law. Our decision not to promote the donation outside the U.S., even though we intended to donate the money, caused many to question where funds from other territories were going. Answering that direct question itself could have triggered compliance obligations or put us in violation of cause market laws in some of the 241 territories in which the content was available. Additionally, a factually incorrect tweet from our team exacerbated. Yeah, that word. The confusion by stating that international funds would not be going to the family. For absolute clarity, our intention was to give all profits from DLC worldwide to the Forgy family. We now recognize that tying our donation to sales of the DLC was not the best way to achieve our goal of offering financial support to the family and creating a lasting memory to Michael Forgy. We sincerely apologize to the fans and to the Forgy family for the confusion we created. To ensure the two original aims are still met and to provide transparency to the community, Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment will instead make a donation directly to the Forgy family. The DLC will be withdrawn from sale and will be a free download for owners of the Middle-earth Shadow War. Anyone who has purchased the DLC will receive a full refund. If there is interest in donating directly to the family, please visit their U-Caring site.
Woof.
So, did you know about this?
I did not know about this at all.
Okay. So, yeah, we talked about, we made a That's Awesome News of the Week thing, though we didn't have some details at the time, which... the details that made this whole thing funny to people.
It was kind of one of those things that it was I think definitely the intentions were obviously good from the start. They were trying to make this an honor for someone, but it gets very tricky when you have to deal with charity laws.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And it was you were only really donating to the family if you were buying it in America and not other places. It was just...
Or technically they could say it because, Well, we don't know if they're.
Well, and
just
a
technically
lot
true.
of it was kind of just an honor system of
Yeah.
like we're just counting on that they're giving it.
Yeah.
So it was, things got fishy. I mean, I don't think there was ever any malintent in this.
Yeah.
I think it was
Just botched in execution.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I know Shadow War is trying to put on like a good face, especially after the whole loot box, controversy, and now there's this, and they're trying to do good, but
I don't think of timetables, but this technically before a lot of the loot box stuff.
did
came
it?
out.
I don't know.
Microtransactions.
I forgot when this originally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was because I think I remember this happening. Where I think we had 2 weeks in a row. We're like, hey, good for Shadow of War, and then
Yeah.
the very next week we're like, oh, those loot boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best option would just be a direct donation to the family
I think
instead of doing.
this was a good solution to just
Yeah.
like let's just put this to bed because there was just so much controversy and so much confusion, rightfully so. Because
Yeah.
it was not very clear.
Again, like you said, Dari, I don't think they were trying to be sketchy about this.
I don't think
but
they're trying to profit off
probably
of
because of the
Yeah.
law and I guess poor explaining. It just really
When
looked
it
bad.
was, I remember even like the time it happened, I listened to some other podcast that I guess are smarter than us, and
Yeah.
whenever it like right when the first news came out, they were like, "This is cool and all, but how is this going to work?" Because like some people know more about these laws,
Yeah.
and they're like, in certain states, this is not going to fly. You're not going to be able to.
Yeah, I
do
still
this."
have stuff like the day after we recorded it. It's
Yeah.
like, dang it.
Because on paper it sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, just do like the direct donation and maybe like put like an in-game memorial to the guy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the whole DLC is fishy and again getting the laws.
But
it's
at
just
least
convoluted.
they're still getting the deal. Everyone's still getting the DLC. It's still going to be there and everything. It's just going to be they just took the whole. Am I giving money to them or am I giving money
Yeah.
to the cause or whatever? They took that out, and it's just like
Well,
straight.
and they give it like, hey, if you want to donate directly to the family, here's
Here you
the
go.
link.
Yeah.
But yeah, all I got to do was like do you caring and then type in Michael Forgey's name.
Yeah.
And on this blog post they had the link. So if you want to do that, go.
Yep.
Do it. Okay, so you guys ready to move on?
Yes.
Okay, this comes from Jason Schreier from Kotaku. Volition, the studio behind Agents of Mayhem, laid off over 30 people this week, including general manager Dan Cermak, these sources tell Kotaku. The studio previously had around 200 employees. These layoffs come 1 month after the release of Agents of Mayhem, an action game set in the same world as Volition's long-running Saints Row series. I have some thoughts about that afterwards.
I don't think I ever knew that it was
Exactly.
actually-
We'll talk about that after we're done. Sources say that Deep Silver, the publisher and parent company of Volition, was unhappy with Agents of Mayhem sales. And then Jason says, although video game publishers do not publicly share their sales data, UK sales charts painted a bleak picture for the game. So did everyone lack of talking about it. Deep Silver did not immediately return a request for comment. Founded in 1996 and purchased by the former publisher THQ in 2000, Volition released a steady stream of games in the Saints Row and Red Faction series throughout the early aughts. Okay.
It is referring to the 2000s. I
Okay.
hate it.
Okay.
There's no good way to refer to the 2000s,
Yeah.
but
Lots.
aughts is just weird to me.
Okay.
That's like saying the 90s or the 80s, but it kind of sucks.
Okay. Feel weird not seeing that, I guess, until now, but whatever. In 2013, after THQ's bankruptcy, Deep Silver bought Volition along with the Saints Row franchise. Since then, the studio has put out Saints Row, Gat Out of Hell, and most recently, Agents of Mayhem.
Yeah. I mean, it's really, really sad that people are losing their
Yeah.
jobs and stuff. I'm not that surprised because Agents of Mayhem was just one of those games you kind of forgot existed. And the market,
Apparently, it was part of their main franchise.
they did not communicate that
I had
well.
no
Okay,
idea.
'Cause
see,
it's just-
But I guess you can kind of see because they had the little emblem on the main characters was like the Saints logo, but at the same time, you kept on thinking, oh, that's just a nod.
yeah.
Yeah.
And,
And Johnny
it
Gat's
looked
in it.
a lot like Saints Row and stuff.
And Johnny gets in, he's like, okay, that's another nod. But I don't remember them ever straight out saying
I
this.
think, and it might have even been a late decision because, like, don't quote me on this, but I think people like dug into the code or saw some marketing material or something that said Saints Row ... Agents of Mayhem. Like at one point they were thinking about like labeling this as a Saints Row game.
That probably would have been better.
Yeah, even though it would have seemed like a side thing, but even that probably would have sold more. it was like, it sucks because Saints Row the third was huge.
Yeah.
Saints Row 4 was still pretty big, but it's just like Saints Row is a very big franchise by the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
It just sucks that, I mean, it's the same team. They probably just added even more people and had a bunch of money and stuff, and they couldn't. Agents of Mayhem, like, no one was talking about it.
Yeah.
No one knew anything about it. It was just, I feel like if you're going to move on from Saints Row and make something else, you need to really make something else.
Yeah.
Because Agents of Mayhem looked like Saints Row, the vibe was like Saints Row, just the gameplay wasn't, and it just like threw everyone off.
And okay, and here's the thing I read, and I might be getting a little some facts off. Again, it was very confusing about this game was because apparently it's in the Saints Row same world, which again I didn't really follow this game closely, but it seemed like no one knew.
If we're following gaming news, like, we should know.
Yeah.
Like, that should be obvious to us. It should be obvious to us that if that's the
and
case.
people were really confused about what this game was. A lot of people looked at the first like, oh, it's a multiplayer game. You can play with friends. You cannot.
That's what I thought for so long. Until, like, last month or the month before. I think it was the month before. Someone said, like, someone wrote into some podcast and were like, it's not a multiplayer game. I'm like, wait, it's not?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
So they did a bad job with just telling what this game is, the messaging and all that stuff. It just, I'm not surprised this thing's didn't sell well.
And it's a bad year for it.
Yeah.
There's just so many other games. From everyone who played it, like, no one seems to say bad things about it. And I think there's another world where this could have sold well. It was so poorly messaged.
Yeah.
Like, the messaging was very bad. I hope Volition can recover from it.
Yeah.
Because I like, the Saints Row games, and I'd like to see them try something interesting. I have a feeling at this point they might just play it safe and go back to a Saints Row game. This might scare them away from trying new ideas.
Yeah. Which is sad because Saints Row started off as a clone of GTA and then it kind of grew into its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this could have been the same thing,
Yeah.
could have been like a quote Saints Row clone by the Saints Row team, then become its own kind of series with its own style. But instead it's just a flop and probably won't go anywhere.
Probably not. And it does suck. I don't want any developer to be scared out of making new IPs because I want more new games like that. But sad.
Yep. Yeah, so you guys ready to move on?
I think we are.
Okay, so it's that time of the month, gentlemen. It's the end of the month. You know what that means?
Metal Gear Solid.
Yes, Metal Gear Solid.
Me and Jacob. Alright.
Okay.
Alright.
So what Dari's getting at is it's time for PlayStation Plus games and Xbox games for Gold games for the next month, so October. Here's the list for PlayStation Plus games. Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain for PS4, The Amnesia Collection for PS4, Monster Jam Battlegrounds for the PS3, Hustle Kings for the PS3, Hue for the Vita and cross-buy with PS4, and Skyforce Anniversary for the PlayStation Vita cross-buy with PS4 and PlayStation 3. Since you guys want to go at it,
Okay, I have to pause Jacob for just a second and say, we have to. I think we all agree. I mean, this is a crazy huge game to be on PlayStation.
Oh yeah, it's a good game.
I mean, it's insane. Like, this is the type of things that everyone's been complaining about PlayStation Plus for a long time now. I think rightfully so.
Yeah,
this is awesome.
No, they've been doing better the last however many months for the most part.
But this is even.
Oh yeah, I mean I agree, but
a,
they've been steadily getting better at least in the end. Now we have this.
And I'll say my thing first. As someone who I'm interested in playing this because I have not played any of the Metal Gear Solid games before or any Metal Gear game at all. And I know that this is not like a game to get the Metal Gear feel like you're supposed to, whatever. But that's why mostly it's a free game to me because I've already paid for PlayStation Plus. I'm going to anyway. The gameplay in Metal Gear Solid 5 looks amazing. I know nothing about the story. I literally know absolutely zero about it. And
nanomachines.
It kind of
not in this game.
Oh,
if I'm being honest, it doesn't.
That's really Metal Gear.
If I'm being honest, I don't really. I already know I'm not going to understand the story, and I know that everyone says the story is kind of less than the other ones. I just want the awesome gameplay. I want to go in there and do the stealth stuff, do the attach balloons to cars and make them fly away, make my horse poop, do a bunch of crazy shenanigans, hide in the box, and peace out. That's all I really care about doing.
You're hurting Jacob.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Jacob.
I adore the Metal Gears franchise. I like 1, 2, 3. I played all of them except for Portable Ops. I like the Phantom Pain is a good game. It has great gameplay and it's a great stealth sandbox type game. There's just a lot of problems with it, which might be an interesting conversation if you ever do play it and like you beat it.
I think I will. I think I'll play it now.
A good conversation between someone who's new coming into that game, which is markedly different from the older games, and then someone who's played all of them and prefers the older ones for what they are.
Well, Dory, let me know when you plan to do that, and I can maybe try to do it. So we have another person in that conversation.
It's a game I've kind of like. I hear people talk about, and I'm interested in it. Everything I hear, every time I'm interested in it, it's because these people. They'll come and they'll be like, "Oh, this crazy thing that happened to me last night playing the game. Like not the story, but the gameplay. Like this, like the story is almost like their narrative through the gameplay. Like this crazy thing they did."
Okay, Jacob. Question. I think I saw a couple people post online. Is it best to play Ground Zeroes before doing Phantom Pain?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I have that through PlayStation Plus as well, so that's good.
And I actually like Ground Zeroes more than the Phantom Pain. You should definitely play it, and it sets up the Phantom Pain, which is the full game.
So basically, I think coming away from this, I think like correct me if you don't agree. Like if you are like someone who's new to Metal Gear, but you're wanting to really get invested in the story and get into Metal Gear as a series or whatever, this is not the place.
The
to start.
worst place to start.
Where
besides
should they?
Maybe 4.
I mean, can you like how far back should you go to
You
start?
should start with Metal Gear Solid 1.
Okay.
I mean that like wholeheartedly. Do it in release order, or possibly you could do 3. You could start with 3, which is the prequel game. You could do 3. You could do that way. I think you could do 3 Peace Walker, this, and then 1, 2, and 4. The problem with that is because you're gonna be jumping from like the fancy slick controls of the Phantom Pain to the PS1 controls of Metal Gear Solid 1.
Yeah.
Another way,
how much they hold up, like those older ones. Like,
I mean, they're still great. Like they have a weird control scheme because they came out at a time before third-person action games. Like their control scheme was kind of formalized.
Right.
So they have like weird controls, but once you get into it, like, they're pretty deep and they control fine. I think, in my opinion. Another way could be 1, 2, 3, Peace Walker, 5, and then 4.
Okay.
Could work too, because 4 is like the conclusion, so you might want to finish on the conclusion.
Okay.
This
is like all the Star Wars movies.
Yeah, starting with this game would be like the equivalent to watching Revenge of the Sith as your first Star Wars movie.
I'll do it.
Not the best.
This series sucks.
It's not the best. It's like it's all these connections to previous movies, and it's totally lost on you.
Yeah. Am I gonna even understand the most basic plot of 5?
Probably not.
Yeah. I'm expecting not to.
I mean, you will. You're gonna get like the twists and that sort of thing. You're not gonna understand the implications.
Right.
And like the problem with like the Phantom Pain is that it's just not a good like test of like the rest of the series. Its presentation is very different.
Yeah.
I think it's way too long. It's like 80 to 120 hour game.
Granted, I never said I would beat the Phantom Pain. I kind of want to experience the gameplay.
Like I could talk for a long time about the Phantom Pain, and it's not a bad game. Like it's still a good game. I had a good time with it, and there are some story beats that are really good. Ooh. It's just it has a lot of flaws, and there's a lot of issues with it. I mean,
I know there are other series where I would be on your side of it, and you'd probably be on my side of it, and that's how it goes with this. Just the thing that's telling for me is a lot of people I listen to who don't they haven't played any Metal Gear game, they're not invested in it at all. They play Metal Gear and they play the Phantom Pain. They love it, and everything they talk about is these crazy gameplay moments that happen. And most people I know who are invested in it say the same thing that like you and Anthony do and everything. So I'm hoping that like going in there just with not any of the baggage or whatever, I'm hoping I can just appreciate it as just the games and the mechanics of the game.
Yeah, you'll definitely get that out of it. Yeah. It's fun to play.
Yeah. And for free.
So, yeah.
It's also the Metal Gear that's most readily available to me right now, which is
it's
also part of the...
Not an easy series to get into.
Yeah.
The easiest is if you have a PlayStation 3, you can just get the Legacy Collection.
Yeah. But, which I think we do have that in this house. I think Alex was playing it, but...
Metal Gear.
Okay, well, yeah, that was a big thing on PlayStation Plus. Very good lineup, though.
I'm going to add some more other stuff to that PlayStation Plus conversation thing. Well, Amnesia's good to have for October.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Also, I knew I recognized Hugh's name. I looked it up because I was curious. Like, I know I've heard this game before. I'm very interested. It's like a puzzle adventure game, but think Rumbo, but puzzle adventure game. We change the background and stuff.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, that sounds very cool.
So this month has gone up for me. Got even better. And it's, a Vita game, but cross-buy PS4, so awesome. Okay, here Xbox games will go for October. Gone Home for the Xbox One. The Turing Test, which is a first-person like puzzle game thing from Square Enix. Xbox One. From October 15th through November 15th. Rayman 3 HD for the Xbox 360. October 1st through 15th. And Medal of Honor Airborne, October 16th through 31st. And I tried to look in the article. I do not know if Rayman 3 and Medal of Honor are backwards compatible with Xbox One.
Okay.
Like a lot of these games normally are.
Okay. Gone Home's awesome.
Yep.
Is Rayman 3 awesome? I don't know. Which one's that?
I get my Raymans mixed up.
Yeah, I definitely don't remember which one.
So it does remind me, I need to get the newest one, which is not really new for the Switch, because it's just so good.
Well, I mean, I think there's good games on both. We usually do this. I don't even think it's even remotely a question. PlayStation has the best. Like PlayStation Plus wins this time.
It's a mixture. Yeah, Metal Gear Solid, Amnesia's good for what it is, and Hue looks really good for it. So.
Yep.
So yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
Wait, have you played Gone Home?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you like Gone Home?
I'm glad it was free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So good, but I wouldn't have paid money
it's
for it.
It's a taste thing. It's one of those like
I guess also Xbox Games with Gold has continuously not made me want to get
games with gold.
Yeah. Well, normally games I'd be interested in I already have. I can't remember what it was. There was a fake leak one where it had like the new Devil May Cry and some other game. I can't remember exactly what it was. Like, ooh, this looks cool. It's like, oh, it's fake.
Yeah.
You can tell just by looking at the pictures. Okay, guys, sit back. This is gonna be a long one unless I decide to cut it short.
I would decide to cut it short.
Yeah. So I don't know how.
It's not that important, but it is interesting.
Okay, I'm just gonna read the first little bit and say a thing of, if you're interested, read more. Because there's a lot.
Sounds good.
Okay. This comes from Eddie McCook from GameSpot. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Special Edition is getting a new mode made through the game's creator club system. Survival mode makes the game more challenging, principally with three main elements: hunger, fatigue, and harsh weather. Yeah.
They have hurricanes.
Yeah. Hunger will impact stamina along with your ability to use most weapons. And as you become hungrier, your total available stamina will decrease, represented by a dark region inside the stamina bar. And of course, you need food to bring it back.
Yeah. Or do you want to skip to like the takeaways down?
Yeah, I guess I'll just read the meat takeaways. Here are some other main takeaways about Skyrim Survival Mode. Swimming in a freezing location will immediately impact your health damage. Fast travel is disabled.
Oh, I didn't even see that one. Oh, ouch.
There's no health regeneration. You need to sleep in a bed to level up. The amount of weight you can carry is significantly reduced. You can contract diseases from animals. If you don't cure yourself, a disease can get worse. Shrines don't cure diseases for free. Instead, you have to make a gold offering.
You get that swine flu.
The extra pockets and the Steedstone perks give you 50 extra carry weight, not 100. Becoming a vampire or werewolf will slow down the time it takes to get cold. Also, you can store your hunger by eating your victims as a vampire or a werewolf. So, as someone who has not played Skyrim, this sounds like it makes it significantly more difficult.
Yes.
No, it sounds really cool.
It does sound kind of cool, though.
This reminds me of the hardcore mode from New Vegas, which is the way to play, in my opinion.
Where you have to, like, carry water.
Yeah, and like, bullets have weight, and it's like this, realistic, like, you feel the struggle type thing. Of course, there are ways to exploit it in New Vegas. But this sounds really cool. I would totally play Skyrim in this mode if I wanted to play Skyrim.
Yeah, it's one, like, don't get me wrong, it probably won't be enough to, like, maybe go back. But, like, if there was something to make me want to, like, play Skyrim for the 12th time, this could be a cool, different type of experience, Play the same game but have a different vibe to it and stuff. Sounds hard as hell, but...
It could be fun.
Yeah, it could be a lot of fun.
You guys ready to move on?
Yes.
Okay, this comes from Alex Osborne from IGN. Recent comments from Telltale Games are an indication Switch owners can expect plenty of support from the adventure game developer for Nintendo's console in the future. Creative Communications head Job Stoffer told Sevilla Games, calm this stuff. Nintendo Switch is a perfect match for Telltale. No series is out of the question for a Switch port, and the studio is looking backwards and forwards in their portfolio when considering what to bring to the platform. Further explained, to say we're steering away from other content because audience isn't true. And then Stuffer said the studio isn't in a hurry to release The Walking Dead for Switch just yet, because looking into earlier seasons might require some additional effort to bring our content up to speed and up to Nintendo's standards. And then he goes in saying Batman's probably going to be the next one.
Okay.
And then Guardians of the Galaxy, and then Minecraft Story Mode Season 2.
Well, it's good to hear. I mean, just generally from any developer, I want to hear more developers say that they want to approach the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, obviously, Telltale makes sense.
I mean, the moment, like, I've been wanting to play Batman, but the moment I heard Switch thing was rumors, like, well, I'm going to wait for that. I'm going to wait for that version.
Not like they're technically that hard, or, for the Switch to do. I feel like, I mean, no disrespect to Telltale, but I feel like playing the Game of Thrones Telltale game, that thing might be able to run on my PS2. That's probably not accurate, but it feels like it. Because like, the engine still does not look good, and it still like crashes and stuff all the time. Telltale games are usually written really well, but boy, the engine is bad.
Yeah.
So basically what I'm saying is the Switch should have no problem running these games.
Let's hope so. So I haven't heard any negatives about Minecraft. I know that's a little different from the normal one, but...
Oh, I heard Minecraft was terrible.
Oh, the Minecraft story mode?
Yeah.
Oh. That's what I'm looking, so.
I heard
that's the one that paid the least amount of attention.
I heard it's really bad.
Take your word for it.
Yeah. I mean, I had no interest in it anyway, but...
Yeah.
It's got Patton Oswalt in it, though. From the King of Queens.
Oh, wait, do you mean the story mode itself, its badges in general, or do you mean running on the Switch?
No, the story mode is
okay.
bad.
I'm talking about running on Switch.
Oh, sorry, no. I think it actually runs the best because it's Minecraft graphics.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Hard to
well,
mess
I'd
that
rather
one
hear
up.
that than hear it runs awful on Switch.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to hear other developers say this though. Like obviously Ubisoft's kind of on board with the Switch and like
Bethesda of all people.
Capcom has even said after the Street Fighter thing they would, and Bethesda.
I'm still gonna hold that opinion that was a stupid game to test the waters with.
It was stupid, but
yeah. Okay. You guys ready to move on?
Yes,
okay.
Jeffrey.
This all comes from Nintendo's website. During a video unveiled today, Nintendo announced some exciting news about the upcoming Nintendo World Championships 2017. Thousands of competitors across the country competed in 7 regional qualifiers, with 16 top players across 2 age brackets qualifying to travel to New York to compete against one another in Nintendo World Championships on October 7th. The event is a multi-game tournament that challenges players of all ages to compete in a gauntlet of games representing the past and present of Nintendo games and systems that fans will know and love. Today, Nintendo revealed just one of the many games to be included in the tournament, the recently released Metroid Samus Returns game for the Nintendo 3DS family of systems. It's a quote from Doug Bowser, of course his name's Bowser, Nintendo of America's Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing. Nintendo World Championships 2017 is more than just another video game tournament. It is a celebration of Nintendo games old and new and Nintendo fans past and present. Kids, parents, and gamers of all ages will be thrilled by the excitement of seeing who will come out on top.
All right. Did that man change his name?
I felt like he got that position because of his name.
Yeah, it was either, I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg, but like, something's not all there with that.
Okay, moving on. Included among the qualifying players are a few dedicated competitors who travel to multiple locations across the country to secure their spot in the tournament, as well as the winner of the Nintendo World Championship 2015, who earned his way back in to defend his title. 16 qualifying players will be joined by 8 players invited to compete from across the country and around the world, including talented speedrunners, tournament players, and online personalities from the US, Europe, Canada, and Mexico. These invitees include actor and Super Smash Bros. Tournament player Asa Butterfield and WWE superstar Bayley. Okay.
Because why not?
Yeah. And then finally, when the event kicks off in New York on October 7th, it will be hosted by Nintendo online personality Andrea Renee, with play-by-play and analysis by gamer, sports broadcaster, Nintendo fan Jordan Kent.
Cool. Are you going to watch it, Jeff?
Probably. Or at least watch it later, see highlights. Because
I always like the commentators on Smash Bros. Stuff because they're just like, they get so into it.
Metroid Samus Return's an interesting game to have
Yeah.
for an event.
I could definitely, speed running could be very
Yeah.
interesting on that. With that.
Yeah, interested to see because last time they announced the Earthbound, what was it called, like Earthbound Reborn or something? What was it called? Blah blah blah.
Not sure.
The Earthbound re-release whatever thing on the 3DS. They announced it there, and that's where they really first showed off Super Mario Maker, and that's when everyone fell in love with it. So
Yeah.
maybe do some more stuff like that to get
Yeah.
people in. Interested to see
and
what games
this-
they had.
Yeah, well, new slew of games with like Splatoon and ARMS.
Yeah.
All Switch stuff you can do.
Interesting. Maybe this is where they'll announce Smash Bros. For Switch.
That'd be weird. Be a weird place to announce it, but
Oh, I promise you, people are predicting that for some reason.
Okay, I'm going to call an audible here, Jeff. All right, we're like late in here, and I'm hungry. So I'm gonna instead. There was one thing that was gonna be a news or a main topic. I'm gonna give you two options, both of you.
Okay.
We can either, for our main topic, talk about there's a interview that Jason Schreier did with, I forgot which developer, but a developer about the toxicity of like the gaming community and how that affects like how game developers feel like they can talk about things. Or there was an interview, or there was the Square Enix like president or someone talked about them like leaning towards games as a service and talking about how that future games are going to rely more on like multiplayer stuff and game service and like long tail of things, and how that could affect Square Enix and just other games. Those are the two options for us to talk about. We're not going to do both though.
Yeah, it's running a little long.
You pick, Jacob. You're the guest.
We can do the latter, the one about toxicity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
We can save the other one for later.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, then this comes from Jason Schreier from Kotaku. Video game enthusiasts often use about the secrecy surrounding game development, which is at times treated as if it were operated by the NSA. Over the weekend, one developer offered an interesting take. Game developers are secretive because being open can lead to too much toxicity. Designer and programmer Charles Randall, who has worked for companies like Ubisoft and BioWare, wrote a long thread yesterday that went viral on Twitter and is worth reading. So, okay, I guess audible here. Do I read the whole thing? I guess it's important. Is that the longest thing? Yeah, I'll just go ahead and read it. Just let me know if it goes a little long. It's your guys' job.
Hold on. I can just cut this out.
Okay, we're back. Okay, we decided to read the thing. Okay, this is all from... This whole next little bit's going to be from Charles Randall and what's happened to him. Okay, the other day, a friend commented to me, "I wish game developers were more candid about development. He was surprised when I said we are. The caveat is that we're only candid with other industry people, because gaming culture is so toxic that being candid in public is dangerous. See that recent Twitter thread about game design tricks to make games better, so the gamers angry about being lied to. Forums and comment sections are full of Dunning-Kruger specialists who are just waiting for any reason to descend on actual developers. See any thread where some dumbass comments how easy it would be to say add multiplayer or change engines." Oh yeah, there's going to be some language in here, by the way. Any dev who talks candidly about the difficulty of something like that just triggers a wave of people questioning their entire resume. Questioning here being an absurd euphemism for becoming a target of an entire faction of gamers for harassment or worse. There are still topics I can't touch because I was candid once and it resulted in dumb headlines, misunderstandings, and harassment. So while I talk candidly about certain big topics right now, I know doing so would lead to another wave of assholes throwing shit at me. And of course, I face almost nothing compared to women / people of color / LGBTQ plus folk. But here's the rub. All the stuff you ever wanted to know about game development would be out there if not for the toxic gaming community. We love to talk about development, the challenges we face, the problems we solve, the shortcuts we take, but it's almost never worth it. I did a public talk a couple weeks ago to a room full of all-age kids, and afterwards, a kid came up to me and was talking about stuff. And I shit you not, this kid, somewhere between 13 and 16, I guess, starts talking about how bad devs are because of a YouTuber he watches. He nailed all the points, bad engines, being greedy, you name it. I was appalled. I did my best to tell him that all those things people freak out about are normal and have justifications. I hope I got through to him a bit. I guess that's supposed to be. But I expect he went back to consuming toxic culture via YouTube personalities, and one day he'll probably harass a dev over nonsense. And that's the end of his whole thing. Going back to Jason. Randall went on to draw a parallel to the film industry, where movies are announced years in advance, and pointed out that transparency like that wouldn't work in video games. This is another Randall quote. Games change during development. This is a universal constant no developer would argue with, but toxic culture can't handle that, end quote. A number of developers have tweeted agreement with Randall's thread, and it's led to plenty of interesting discussions. It has also led to, and this will probably shock you, some toxic reactions. So yeah, kind of a little bit what we were talking about earlier.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we did actually kind of touch on this already.
So probably good we put this one in this podcast.
Yeah. It's a very powerful message, and it's something that I kind of, like, we all know that, like, gaming culture, I mean, like, the internet in general is toxic, and maybe it's because I'm too close to it, but I feel like the gaming industry can be especially toxic.
Yeah.
At least maybe it just feels that way because it's what I see the most.
Perhaps. I feel like there's a toxic culture in every community,
Yeah.
especially with, like, media. I mean, like, he talks about film industry. There's a lot of toxic people in the film industry.
Yeah, of course.
Well, and correct, just let me know if you have different opinions on this, and I kind of forgot what I was saying. As far as it, like Darius saying, we're kind of more into this stuff, so
right.
we see it more. And
yeah.
As far as comparing video games to film, while film probably makes the most money overall, there's a bigger percentage of the people who are into games and film that are like really into it, I think. So while there probably is a bunch of toxicity in film, I can definitely see that. It's probably a smaller section. I might be completely off base with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, film, I think, appeals to a wider audience.
Yeah.
So
but
just by sheer numbers, like, the toxic element is probably smaller.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I mean, there's also, I don't know this at all, but I feel, I mean, there could be something, like when you play a game, or there's a game series you love, like people who love Destiny, people put, like, 300, 400 hours of their life into Destiny, and now Destiny 2, just as an example. That's something like, as much as you love Star Wars or you love something else or whatever, you kind of watch the movie and you watch the movie and you walk away. It was like 2 hours of your life. You might rewatch it and you might love it and you might do all this other stuff. But a lot of times movies is passive and you kind of just watch it and everything. I do think people, because they spend so much time in these games and there's so much, a part of their life with that, they kind of feel like, I think a lot of people get this kind of unhealthy feeling of ownership over it, or that they're justified in being angry about things like this, and because they're so attached to it, and they start to view the people who make it as not
slaves.
They don't treat them like they would any other normal human in a day-to-day.
Well, and the fact, for the most part, they're talking to them over the internet, which brings out the worst in people a lot of times anyway.
Yeah,
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
It's true. He mentions, like, the kid, and it's like, well, I mean, 13 to 16-year-old kids say things that are really dumb, so I wouldn't really take that to heart. I understand that it was shocking, but I wouldn't. I feel like it's a difficult topic because he has some valid points. I agree. There's a certain bit of toxicity to it, but at the same time, I feel like you shouldn't do like an us versus them mentality in an industry with creators in general.
I think as far as toxicity goes, like when you saying about the kid, he mentions the whole thing like the kid talked about a YouTuber he watches. I think that kind of makes things worse because we're seeing a lot of stuff about YouTubers and games coming out as not too great people, and usually the youngest of people are watching this and take what those people say to heart and learning from them.
Yeah, I mean, because a lot of, like you said, 13-year-olds, like, you're an impressionable kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I certainly was. I certainly like was influenced by a lot of things I look at, and from like it can get really bad. Like even the recent PewDiePie scandal and stuff.
Yeah.
That's part of what made it so much worse, is because like that there's kids watching this. But talking about like in the gaming industry, I think also part of it doesn't even have to be that people are like it doesn't even have to be like vile toxicity of like someone saying just the worst thing possible. It could even be, I think a lot of times there's a disconnect even with the rational like IGNs or GameSpots or whatever who has like kind of calm and collected games coverage.
Yeah.
There's still, even with them, there's a disconnect between them and developers in the way that a lot of times, and I'm guilty of it, we're all guilty of saying like, oh, like, I try to never say this, but something like people will say like the developers are lazy. They didn't put this in there because they're lazy, or like, you know, it wouldn't have been that hard to do this, do that, or whatever. A lot of times they don't know. We don't know, and there's kind of a disconnect between like what you say and what the reality is when it comes to actual developers making games. And that can get to the point where, you know, you work all day, every day working on this game, and like you barely see your family. You're out there to 3 a.m. and stuff. Like a lot of the stories I read about in Jason's post, and when developers do talk about it, that's a reality. And then you go online and some kid's saying that you're lazy and that you're not, you know, you're trying to skip out of your job.
Yeah.
I can see it being frustrating. You know?
I think a lot of, and like even the more rational toxicity, I think a lot of that is rooted in how close game, like over like the issues of games journalism in general, in that a lot of major games publication sites, they have to be very soft and close to game publishers because that's just how they get money.
Yeah.
You can't, you know, if you have a game on like your splash banner on your website, you can't poorly review that game because that's how you're getting revenue.
Yep.
And so I think that leaves it to a lot of lay people to have to be the ones to give harsh criticism,
Right.
and not everyone knows how to give that, you know, succinctly and appropriately
or respectfully, you know, way. And there's even like, I mean, just game journalism in general. Do you know any other form of journalism or any media thing like that where you have embargoes?
Yeah.
Where you're beholden to like this company will tell you when you can talk about this. That doesn't happen anywhere else.
Yeah, like
But
you want to get a first look at something. Well, if you wrote that really, you know, harsh and biting piece about that, you know, studio or that developer, you might not get that first look.
When like there's been, I think Kotaku has multiple times developers have like said we're not going to send you
Review copy.
review copies anymore because they like unearthed something that they didn't want to see or whatever. And that's just the thing in the gaming industry. I mean, like, I don't know. I'm not necessarily saying it's bad. It's kind of a necessary evil that like everyone, you know, if you want the sites to be able to see things early, this is really the only way. You are beholden to the company, so there's no way around that. But you know, it is interesting when you think of it in the concept of journalism. No, like congressman is like, nope, you can't write that story about me until we pass this bill. It's like no.
Yeah, it's not like covering politics or economics. It's
Right.
you know, covering entertainment is like a different beast because at the end of the day, the entertainment industry that produces the thing that you review has more money and power than the journalism side of it. So, and I think and that's where it falls on like, you know, people like YouTubers who come out and like have to give like these honest opinions, and they can come off as more harsh, and that also they can also be unprofessional, such as certain YouTubers. And
there's not a lot of accountability, and I'm not saying that, you know, it's a free thing. You can go on YouTube and say whatever you want and build an audience with that. But it does kind of suck when it just seems like there's just lots of bad information, wrong facts that people get with the gaming stuff. And like some YouTubers, like even, you know, some YouTubers can kind of go overboard with their criticisms to the point where it doesn't even make sense. But they like even Jim Sterling sometimes does it, and there's other ones they get their like army of people, of commenters on YouTube to go attack these developers and stuff who a lot of times are not, you know, they didn't like, no one intentionally like, we're going to like sabotage our game. You know, we're going to make this bad on purpose. It's like no developer wants to make a bad game.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, I don't know.
yeah, and then you have, you know, public people such as like, you know, Angry Joe, who have like this persona, but then followers don't quite understand that persona, and they misinterpret the points he's trying to make about something.
Yeah.
which feeds more into like the whole toxicity of the community.
Yeah, and it can, and it's weird. 'Cause there's a line. There's also, I don't think that we should just not address problems in video games and stuff and like treat them with the soft brush just because we feel sympathy for them. You know, that's not the way it should go.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like there is some responsibility to rein that in some, because people can, it can get out of hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Mm-hmm. Like, imagine if people announce the game really early and it just doesn't look good because it's very early on, then attack people, the developers, like, why does this look so bad? You ruined my favorite series.
yeah,
That's probably what would happen.
That's why I
people
said,
announcing
like,
too early.
they don't want to be candid about this stuff, because
Yep.
as soon as they're like, hey, look at this, there's immediately people being like, oh, it looks terrible.
It's like, well, it's early access. Like,
it's like, all right, well, then I won't show you. I don't want to, we don't want to show you then. And I feel like in the gaming industry, there's a lot of, like, once you get the bad press, it's hard to come back from it. There's some success stories, but it's harder. And I don't know why the gaming industry is so much different than, like, film. Like we were saying, no one really cares about film taking a while, or you can see, like, the behind the scenes of the film, and you're just like, yep, that's that film.
That's a film.
Well, like, they don't have the CGI and stuff in, like, we understand that and everything,
Yeah.
but when the game has,
Yeah. There was that very funny clip, though, from Tom Cruise in The Mummy, where he's in the airplane, and, like, there were some sound effects missing, and it was the funniest
it's
thing.
The best, yes.
And people just ripped into that. It was, I mean, I don't think The Mummy is, like, a work of art either, so.
It's not?
Definitely didn't look like it, but...
But a 10 out of 10 movie. Just like Batman v Superman.
Oh, yeah. The best.
Yes.
The best. Well, you guys have any other comments on that? I think that was a good discussion. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, and there's a lot of connections to different issues, I think, within, gaming culture and the industry and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
So it's a multifaceted
It is, and there's
issue.
no clear-cut answers. I do wish that we heard from developers on issues like this, or just at all.
Yeah.
More than we
Yeah.
do. And that's what reading Jason's book has been really cool to see, like, things that I never even knew about, like, that goes on in development. And I wish that they felt like they could be more candid.
Oh, I agree,
with
yeah.
stuff like that, so I think it would be-
In a perfect world, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of times with movies, sometimes you'll hear about it as it's going on, or right afterwards they'll talk about it because you feel like you can, but with the game, you gotta get it, But, yeah. Well, Jacob, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me on.
It was a lot of fun. I'm sorry we kept you here for like 2 hours.
Oh, it's okay.
We'll make up for it by feeding you.
Yes.
So thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure you follow
Thank
us on
you.
all the thingies and everything. Nerds at large.
Yep.
See you next week.
Yep. See ya.